Hello everyone, my name is Eduardo and today I would love to talk about the Enphase sunlight backup capability. We'll be exploring the features and benefits of this innovative backup power solution that is designed to maintain essential loads powered during an outage without the use of batteries. It can support up to 4 circuits of 240 volts or 8 circuits of 120 volts. This is usually enough to maintain those critical loads powered, like the fridge, outlets, and fans, without the upfront cost of a full battery bank. The system consists of the following elements. The IQ8 microinverters are a leading-edge technology in the industry, boasting the capability of being the first split-phase, grid-forming microinverters. They are designed to convert DC to AC power with exceptional efficiency and are a crucial component of the sunlight backup system. The system can support a continuous AC output of up to 64 amps, equating to a 15.4 kilowatts AC nameplate aggregate output from the IQ8 microinverters. The IQ Combiner 4 and 4C serves as a central interconnection point for PV and energy storage systems, facilitating a simplified and standardized installation process in residential environments. The enclosure integrates various connection components and comes pre-wired with the latest software, including the Enphase IQ Gateway, to support the micros. By the way, remember that to establish wireless communication with IQ System Controller 2, the communication kit must be installed. The IQ System Controller 2. This is an advanced device that monitors utility power and activates the backup power source in the event of an outage. It integrates the grid, forming IQ8 microinverters, IQ batteries, and other AC standby generators to provide backup power to residential systems. The IQ System Controller 2 is also certified for rapid shutdown in backup configurations and is exclusively designed to support IQ8 series microinverters. Oh, and by the way, it is important to note that the older IQ System Controller version 1 is not compatible, and it is unsafe to use with IQ8 series. Please remember this. The Enphase Energy System Shutdown Switch is a required component for ensuring compliance with the National Electric Code 690.12 in systems featuring grid-forming IQ8 micros and IQ System Controller 2. The RSS serves as the initiator for rapid shutdown functionality that basically turns off all the micros and batteries in case of an emergency. Remember that before, previous versions of the IQ micros didn't require a shutdown switch. But since the IQ8 are grid-forming, turning off the solar backfeed breaker is not enough to reduce high voltages on the roof. IQ Load Controller. This unit provides circuit-level control for up to 2 loads of 240 volts or 4 loads of 120 volts. It supports dedicated loads of 36 amps resistive or 25 amps inductive. At least one IQ load controller must be installed for a sunlight backup system to function. Now let's take a closer look at how this actually works. Power produced in a sunlight backup system depends on the solar irradiance at the site location. In other words, how much sunlight reaches the solar panels. This can change due to things like clouds, shading, and the time of the year. If the power generated is not enough to meet the demands at any particular moment, the system may collapse. This is why load control is required in any IQ8 sunlight backup system. It consists of an off-the-shelf panel with up to 4 240 volts or 8 120 volts essential load circuits that are backed up and up to 2 IQ load controllers. Now let's talk a little bit about essential load selection. In order to be able to select the essential loads, we're going to have to work with the homeowner while keeping in mind the following points. First, make sure the combined power of the backup loads do not exceed 30% of the IQ8 power output. See, for example, if we have 10 IQ8 micros, each with 240 watts for a total of 2,400 watts. the maximum combined power of our backup loads should not exceed 720 watts. Secondly, please make sure you understand that each IQ load controller includes 2 double pole relays. Although each relay can be independently controlled, please notice that these are double pole relays and not single pole. In other words, if we connect 2 120 volt loads to one of these relays, these 2 loads will be controlled as one group. Also make sure that each auxiliary contact is named properly. The correct name should be displayed on the homeowner's app for the homeowner to interact with it. And finally, and believe me, this is a tricky one, ensure that the branch circuit with the Wi-Fi router and modem is always an essential load and has the highest priority, okay? If any other load is added to the Wi-Fi branch circuit, make sure it is just a light or some very minor load. Losing internet connectivity is the last thing we want when running in sunlight backup mode. It would result in poor homeowner experience as they lose the ability to control loads using the app. And with that out of the way, let's move on and talk about configuration. To commission a sunlight backup system, let's make sure our gateway has the software version 7.3.120 or older, and the Enphase installer app has the version 3.27 or older. The Enphase installer app will automatically detect the sunlight backup use case based on the presence of grid forming IQ8 micros in the IQ system controller 2, as well as the absence of IQ batteries. This is cool, right? Next up, you'll need to scan up to 2 IQ load controllers and make sure you have at least 1 auxiliary contact configured before moving on with the commissioning process. Now, to ensure that your internet modem and router have the highest priority, connect them to the NC1 auxiliary contact. And also, don't forget to switch the mode of this circuit from scheduled to manual mode in the Enphase installer app. That way, as soon as power is available, this circuit will be powered on when running off-grid. If you're backing up more than 4 loads, try to avoid using the contactor controlled by the NC1 auxiliary contact, unless you really have to. In other words, if you've used up all other contactors. If you find yourself in a situation where you have to add another load to the NC1 auxiliary contact, make sure it's a low power load. Basically, try to keep the NC1 with the bare minimum to keep the Wi-Fi running. Okay, so now let's talk about the Enphase installer app's role in the sunlight backup use case. When it comes to the controlled loads, the app will automatically set them to scheduled mode with a default time window of 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. local time. This means that during a grid outage, all essential loads controlled by NC1, NC2, NO1, and NO2 will only be available during these hours. The reason for this is to make sure that the system only provides backup power during times when there is typically enough sunlight and to prevent multiple system restarts. Of course, you can always change the time window to better match your local sunrise and sunset conditions and available irradiance depending on the season. Just remember, NC1 must always be used for your Wi-Fi modem and router, and the circuit must be switched to manual mode. Now, here's a helpful tip from Enphase. It's recommended that you stagger the turn on and turn off times of your various loads to maximize the efficiency of the system. This means that the heaviest loads should operate during the times when your solar power production is at its peak, which is typically between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. But don't worry, you can easily adjust these times to match your system's solar power production using the Enphase app. Simply go to the Energy tab in the app, and you'll be able to see your daily power production data. This information can help you make informed decisions about when to turn on and turn off your loads. Now guys, before moving forward, I just wanted to give you a heads up that I'll be sharing more informative content like this in the future. If you found this helpful, please give it a like and consider following me for the latest updates on all things solar. Thanks. Okay, moving on to the next and final section. Let's discuss the system behavior and the timing details and priorities of controlled loads for those who design the system. When the system is down, in other words, the microgrid collapses, all essential loads are powered off as there is no power in the system. However, if there's sunlight available, it can take up to 2 minutes for the system to restart and power back on the loads. Any loads that are set to manual mode will turn on first, the Wi-Fi for example, then the IQ system controller will power the remaining loads in a predetermined order. The loads controlled by the other auxiliary contacts, NC2, NO1, and NO2, will be powered on with a 22-second gap in between. If a load is in scheduled mode, it will only turn on if it falls within the scheduled time window. Now the system will consider a load responsible for a collapse if a system shutdown occurs within 22 seconds of a load being powered on. If a load causes 5 system shutdowns, it will be disabled or powered off and cannot be automatically powered on while the system is off-grid. But the homeowner can use the Enphase app to turn it on when the irradiance increases in the afternoon, for example. If a load is powered on for more than 5 minutes, the system will reset its shutdown counter. This means that if a load is added to the microgrid and doesn't cause a collapse for at least 5 minutes, its shutdown counter is reset. If all loads are blacklisted, the system will retry the sequence after an hour. All loads will be powered on automatically once the system connects back to the grid or a generator. If the system black starts from the photovoltaic in the morning, it will reset the shutdown counters of all loads from the previous day. The system takes anywhere from 1 to 2 minutes to power up after a microgrid collapse. The image that you see in the screen represents the connection of the IQ load controller to the auxiliary contacts and critical loads. Notice how the double pole contactors are controlled by only one of the auxiliary contacts. This is why 120 volt loads connected to the same contactor must be grouped together. Also notice that the IQ load controller is being powered directly from the critical load panel. I have seen people mistakenly connecting it to the non-critical load panel. Just double check this. If you are wondering where I get all these diagrams, you can get them from the Enphase website. Big thanks to Enphase. And with this, we've come to the end of this video. I find fascinating what Enphase has been able to achieve with this new IQ8 platform. I hope you found the information here useful and now have the knowledge to implement the Enphase Sunshine backup capability more efficiently. Thank you for watching, and please consider following me for more videos like this. I find these topics fascinating and can't wait to share more of these guides with you. Thank you.